What up, IDS Mob? Welcome to the Introvert Dating Success Show. I'm your host, as always, Harry Wilmington. And so, if you're listening to this show on February 11th, the day that it's being released, this is right before Valentine's Day, which is next Monday. And so, for those of you guys that are single and have nobody to go out on dates with, there might be an inkling you have that a close girlfriend or woman friend of yours might be able to go out on a date with you if you were to ask her. And so this guy's question that we're answering today did just that. He actually asked a woman friend out on a romantic date, and she said yes to it. And now he's wondering if certain actions that he wants to do on the date would be actions that he should actually do to try to further see if she likes him. All right. And we're going to talk about what he should be doing, what he's doing right, what he should be cautious of doing, and how to make this an evening that ultimately both of them will be able to remember, and that will hopefully allow him to go further with her beyond just the holiday, all right? So let's go ahead and get into his message. And so he says, I'm 22, and I asked my friend on a romantic date on Valentine's Day. She agreed. We have dinner reservations in a restaurant, and I have gifts for her. He says he has chocolate mercy, red rose, and my own manuscript of musical piece that I composed for piano. It's a lot. When I asked her, she sounded joyful and glad to be invited on a date. Remember, we are friends, but I always had a crush for her. Would it be weird if I asked her to hold hands when we walk and asking for permission to kiss her? Please give me some advice. So first off, kudos to this guy for being able to do what 97% of other guys cannot do, which is they have a female friend that they've been crushing on, and they actually ask her on a date. Now, some of you guys might have a female friend and think, well, I don't want to ask her out because it's going to be weird or awkward. If she says no, the friendship's going to be all kind of, weird feeling to me, and every time I get around her, she's going to look at me weird, and I don't want that. Dudes, you only get to have a chance at succeeding at the chances that you take, okay? And when I was in college, I, lo and behold, actually had female friends that were actually willing to go on dates with me the few times that I asked. And I come to find out later that a lot of female friends that I had crushes on me, but I just wasn't asking them out because I was nervous and fearful and scared that it would change the relationship or whatever, even though you got to put in your head that ultimately asking for a date is nothing more than an inquiry. It's saying to the other person, I find you interesting enough as it is right now, but I want to know more. And so the mistake most guys make is they go into dating situations where they're trying to ask a woman out thinking, I'm asking her out because I have this big like for her. If she says yes to the date, it means we're automatically boyfriend and girlfriend. And then every move I do after that means that I love her and it's going to let her know that I love her, but I don't know how intense that should be. And it's really none of that, okay? Women get asked out by dudes quite frequently, so you're going to just be another inquiry that she's doing, but it's good that she gives you the chance to do that. But in order to get that chance, more often than not, you're going to have to be the one to ask, okay? And Valentine's Day could be a perfect time for that. You could just go to a female friend and say, hey, you know what? You're single. I'm single. I don't want to be alone on Valentine's Day. And I think it'd be great to kind of get to know each other a little bit better. So can I take you out? That's a low pressure way. You're not saying, hey, I want to romantically spill my feelings to you and then I have this outright full love for you, because that can scare women away. But just asking for a date, that's very low bar. Like in terms of the things you could say to a woman that are going to freak her out, saying, hey, can we go on a date is not the freakiest thing that's going to freak her out, okay? You saying, hey, I have a crush on you and I've loved you for 3 years now, and by the way, now I want to take you out, adding all those extras could make her be like, oh, I don't want to go out with this guy. This guy's a little too obsessed with me, okay? But if you're not doing that, you should be pretty good. Now, as for what this guy is wanting to do, so positives. He has a dinner reservation, always good. You always want to have reservations, especially on a day like Valentine's Day, when most places are going to be booked up, because that shows to a woman that you know how to prepare and you know how to lead and you know what you need to be doing in order to show her a good time on a date, okay? Because women do not want to have to plan the date for you or have to try to tell you where they think you should take them. Like, they want to be the ones that are just on your fun bus. They get on as a passenger and then you lead the bus. They don't want to have to take over the wheel for you or try to pick out things at any time, all right? So he did that part great, okay? Now, here's where it starts to get murky, okay? Because he's talking about doing things or wanting to give her things that could add a level of intensity to the situation that she's not quite ready for, because this is her first time being asked by this guy. So while he's had a crush on her for a few years now, he's had time to build up this idea of her in his head to where he's already got all these romantic feelings that are ready to come out. she is new to this idea. He just revealed by asking her on a date, like, oh, he has some level of like for me. Bringing the level of intensity, like a high level of intensity to that, could freak her out. So just like this guy had a couple years to ease into feeling the strong feelings he has, he now has to give her the same amount of time, not 2 years, but he has to give her time to ease into seeing him in a romantic light, in a relationship light. On average, it takes a woman 2 to 3 months to solidify her feelings. During that time is when she's actually starting to build up that level of like and being able to assess him and see what he's really like and then decide if she wants to be with him. And in my program at my website, my Introvert Dating Success Academy, I go extensively into what are the kind of dates and what kinds of conversations and what kinds of things do you need to be doing when you're with her that's going to naturally build this kind of attraction to where she starts thinking on her own, wow, I really want to be with this guy in a relationship. If you need help with that, you can go to the website, click on the programs tab, check out the sales page, and you can look at what the whole program has to offer involving coaching, involving phone calls, involving videos and stuff like that. And if you think that you can afford the program and you want to apply, you can do that today as well. But anyway, so yeah, but that's the goal, is you get the date and then you take her on the date and you show her a good time. So the extras he wants to do, for example, he talks about he wants to get her some chocolate. He wants to get her a red rose. He wants to give her a whole manuscript that he composed in piano. So let me tell you what these things say to women, okay? So chocolate, admittedly, women like chocolate. That's not like a very high intense gift. So he could possibly get away with getting her chocolate, okay? But you don't want to pile on gifts for a woman that you're taking out for a first date. So the thing about red roses is red roses to women signal that you are highly in love with them. This is why you don't be giving out those kind of flowers until like 3 months in, when you start having those feelings, and then you give single red roses to start with, because you're building up the level of intensity for her to show how much you love her, okay? But giving a red rose on a first date, it's going to make her think this guy's already hyper in love with me and I'm not there yet. And this is now starting to make it feel like it's a forced thing and I'm uncomfortable. And now I don't want to be around him anymore. Okay. So ixnay on the flowers, guys. Stop giving women flowers on these first dates. I know you see it in all the movies. You hear it in all these songs about going up with all these dozens of red roses. Women do not need that. It does not actually help them be more attracted to you. And then him giving her a manuscript, a musical piece that he composed, I'm assuming specifically for her. So that's going to now read as this guy, like, again, it's our first date, but this guy's already gone home, had to creatively think up some kind of musical piece that symbolizes how much he feels for me, and then write it down and then play it to make sure it makes sense and then give it to me. That's a lot of feeling that had to go into that. And my feelings aren't there yet. So now I'm freaked out because A, he's now giving me 3 different gifts and I have nothing for this guy. And also he's doing things that are taking up a lot of his time to show me that he likes me, but my feelings aren't there yet. So now it looks like he's obsessed with me. Okay. You do better. The date already, you planning the date and agreeing to pay for it is more than enough for most women to get them to recognize, oh, this guy likes me. Anything more than that can usually result in them feeling like you're a little too into them, and that's not a turn on for women, okay? So scale it back. Get rid of the roses, get rid of the musical piece. Again, you could debate on the chocolate, but also, dude, like, you're going to a restaurant that probably has desserts. You could split a dessert together and that'd be more romantic. Like you guys get a little chocolate cake at the end for the restaurant and then just kind of share that together. That's more romantic and you're still buying her chocolate. But you don't need to pile on and pile on and pile on. The date itself, the dinner, and it's Valentine's Day, so however much it's going to cost is going to be more than enough for her to get the idea that you like her, okay? Also, you never want to do so much stuff that a woman starts to feel like she owes you certain things that she's not ready for. Like, because a lot of women will think like, oh, he's doing all this stuff because he wants to hook up tonight. Well, if she's not in that thought process yet, then that could feel like you're just bribing her to try to do that. And then she feels like stuck because it's like, I don't want to hurt this guy's feelings, but I also don't want to hook up with him yet. But what choice do I have? But I have the choice, but then he's going to be mad if I don't let her do that. But he's clearly paid for all this stuff. So maybe he went into it like wanting that, but I don't want to give it to him. But like, you're better off going to dinner, focusing on having a really good conversation, making her laugh, looking for touch indicators. And then if that builds up, you might be able to get away with the kiss at the end of the night, which could then possibly lead to other stuff if you've done a good job on the date itself. Because ultimately, your personality is going to be what sells her on hooking up with you and getting in a relationship, and not all the stuff that you're trying to buy her, okay? And that's all guys think. Guys think if I buy this thing to somebody else, it's a fair exchange. You still know what I mean. And women don't take it like that, all right? So save all that stuff. And then he says the thing about when they're walking, should he ask to hold her hand And at the end of the night, should he ask to kiss her? And this is where it gets murky because there is, and I've heard recently, because I'm 40, so I'm a little older in the game, guys. I have heard that the current generation coming up is more inclined to ask somebody if they can do that stuff and get a positive response. So this person's 20 and 22, that they may be in the time of their lives in a certain situation where that's acceptable to do. But I've also dated younger. Like I've been in my 30s and I've dated women who are in their 20s who didn't need any of that because they're still relying on some level for the guy to be able to either A, recognize signals that she's throwing to indicate she wants to do stuff, or B, being able to make bold and daring moves that they can decide to reject or accept. But the fact that the guy's making the move is the most important thing. So I say that to say, you got to look at like, how heavy are these actions? So something like a handhold, that's not a heavy enough action to where you need to ask for that. And most likely what will happen is you're going to read her body language. If you guys are walking somewhere and she's like walking right next to you and is accidentally, quote unquote, bumping into you, that's usually a sign from her that, hey, if you want to hold my hand, I'd be game. At which point you can hold her hand. If she's walking far apart from you, you can still try to test it out and see what's what. But like, that's not a really hard line. Most women, even if they're not ready to like kiss you yet, they'll hold your hand. Like that's not really a big thing in the grand scheme of things, okay? So that's the thing too, is don't be so in your head about all these moves being such big deals, because most of them really aren't. Now, in terms of kissing, again, I found I've been able to get away with first date kisses, and it just is a matter of like, I'm looking at her face, I'm looking to see if her eyes are looking at my lips, which is a big indicator that she's thinking about me kissing her. And then, again, I'm looking at other signs. Is she walking next to me really close? Has she been touchy-flirty with me during the course of the night? Has she been trying to get close to my face and whisper things to me or things like that, which typically indicates that she wants your face close to hers in some capacity, or is she getting close to you to smell your cologne? These are all signals you can start to read that'll give you a better idea of like, is she going to be cool with a kiss? To where when you get to the end of the night, and you're looking at her and you're thinking about it and you get her back to her door. She's like, I had a good time. And she's kind of like standing there, like just fiddling with her keys and just kind of looking back at you and just whatever. That's when you got to kind of start to get that read of like, is this a moment where the kiss could happen or not? Now, again, depending on how it works in your generation, you could totally say, hey, so you can make a joke and say like, this is the first day. I don't know if I want to kiss you or not, but I got to find out at some point. Or just something that kind of keeps it jovial versus like, hey, so I really want to kiss you. And is that like the more serious you make it, the more of a big deal you make it, and the less exciting it's going to be for her, and you could ruin your chance, okay? So I say, I err on the side of, I try to feel it out. If I feel like this is the moment where a kiss can happen, I go for it. And in my Introvert Dating Success Academy, I talk extensively about the first kiss and a specific move you can make that'll actually allow you to be able to pull off a first kiss effortlessly, but that'll also give you a pre-kiss read to see if she's actually ready to do that or not, so you won't embarrass yourself and have her flinching from you, okay? Again, it's in the program. But anyway, but that's not a thing that you guys have to ask for. Again, you can do it if you think that's something you want to do. I have found more often than not, and I've had women tell me this. I've had women tell me that guys have asked them to kiss them and they were open for the kiss, but at the point that the guy asked for it, it turned them off. Because keep in mind, for a woman, part of the journey of dating is like, sometimes things are just happening. Like you guys, so think about like this perspective, is that part of it is there's the fantasy of, he was just so enamored with me and so turned on by me that he couldn't help but kiss me. And in the moment of that feeling that he had, he just went for it and it felt really good. And women like that story. Again, some women you're gonna have to read out and see if maybe they want to be asked that. But I've had more women tell me that and more women turn away guys that were trying to ask them versus like out of nowhere, he just kissed me. And at first I was like, what's going on? And then I realized like, oh my God, I just kissed him back. And then it was so passionate. So you got to really kind of read out what the situation is. I tend to err on the side of, I don't typically ask, but I'm so good at this point at being able to tell when the right moment is to do that first kiss. And you may not be there yet. And that may be something that you need to figure out or have somebody coach you through, but that's not typically the thing you have to ask for either, okay? So, but here's the thing, like I said, ultimately, guy, kudos to you for being able to at least ask for the date, because a lot of guys can't do that. And so if you're a guy that's single this Valentine's Day and you have nobody to go out with, and you have a woman friend that you've been thinking about possibly wanting to do something romantic with, or just maybe just a good friend that's just like, hey, you're single, I'm single, and you want to, hang out and do some stuff on that day, then I say go for it, because you only make the shots that you shoot. If you don't shoot at all, you shoot sometimes, you're going to miss, but it's better to at least take the shot and then say, well, I tried the shot, it didn't work out, versus sitting there being like, I wish I'd taken the shot. Would it have gone in? Would she have said yes? I don't know. And you never get to know. Because I'm telling you, I have women that I wish I had asked out in my 20s that still ruminate in my head. Like, what if I had asked her out? What if I had just gone up to her and said, hey, I want to take you out, and I didn't do it? And I have to live with those regrets. So as you get older, you'll find that these chances, when they come along, you got to be willing to take them. And then even if you're not aware that a chance is out there, sometimes it means, honestly, part of the growth of being a guy is being willing to take rejection. And you can only get more comfortable with rejection if you're practicing things that allow you to get rejected. I had a point in college where I was like, you know what? I'm going to purposely go out there and start asking women that are friends of mine on dates. And I need to ask out like 10 women to hopefully get one date. Because my thought was I need to get 10 rejections. So my goal is to get 10 rejections. And the first 3 girls that I asked out, all of them said yes to a date. And I was like, what is this about? Which made me realize that the only person that was making this such a big deal in terms of asking for dates was me. And that could be your situation. So get out of your head and start asking these women out so you don't have to be lonely for Valentine's Day. Hopefully, guys, this helps you out. For more of these shows, you can go to introvertdatingsuccess.com. And hey, if you'd like to be coached and you want to figure out how to get out of your head and how to start knowing the right things to be doing when you're trying to attract women and ask them out, go to introvertdatingsuccess.com, click on the programs tab, check out the sales page for the Introvert Dating Success Academy, and fill out the form to apply. And we can have a one-on-one talk about what that would mean for you, for me to help you out. All right. Also, if you want to support the show, subscribe to my YouTube channel at youtube.com/HarryWilmington, or you can send me a Cash App at $HarryWilmington. And of course, this show is always about you guys. If you have a question you'd like me to answer on one of these shows, you can write to me at HarryWilmington@gmail.com. I'm Harry Wilmington, and I'll catch you guys on the next show. I'm out. Peace.